Lately, predominantly my focus concerns artificial intelligence, and AI brings up a number of disparate problems when we think about both the future and the evolution of globalization, of the global economic order, and the way in which we think about it politically, as well as the way in which nations and firms understand their place in building this next generation of global economic development. The concern on one side is simply what's the future of commercial and foreign economic power? How do we understand the ways in which AI plays into this question of how firms are exported and build out this maker and taker division between who makes AI and who takes AI, who's a buyer and who's a seller, and what does that play into how we can think about the kind of conventional changes in economic development. But on the other side, the question is AI, unlike general purpose technologies before it, it brings out considerable questions on the kind of values which we have to consider when we're both designing as well as when we're developing it, and implementing it, and diffusing it. This question on what kind of values are, or organizing the democratization of this kind of a technology and the power that comes with it, end up playing enormous roles. And so the question for the EU comes in the function it can play across all these different conversations, which ultimately will end up being unique. It can serve as an incredibly effective norm entrepreneur on the regulatory side, something already seen in the context of its work with GDPR. However, the more interesting things will happen when it considers the role that it can play in shaping the kinds of market features that AI should help to drive. And this question doesn't necessarily go into simply how much innovation or whether or not the EU can build the next trillion-dollar company, and by extension, how it defines that relationship, but whether or not it can serve to create an ecosystem which empowers a more public value-oriented approach and public purpose-oriented approach to the kinds of innovations that we want to see in the market. Whether or not it can not only shape the rate of innovation, but shape the direction of innovation and collectively shape it in the context of its relationship with major firms. And the stakes of this isn't just in the development of the EU, but the way in which nations around the world buy, use, and understand the value and the function which AI can perform in different kinds of societies. And the EU, I believe, will play an enormously powerful role in shaping both the perspective on what's feasible as well as the creation of an entirely different kind of platform-driven market, and by extension, how it can serve to help diffuse and ensure that AI is a more productive feature of the global economic environment.